Hello, my name is Andrew Collins and I'm a telly addict. Television has a big problem. Not competition from YouTube and social media, not continued fragmentation of the available audience by cable and on demand, not even the decline of traditional advertising revenues. What to do with Danny Baker?
So where shall we first break ground on our symposium of the substrata?
Nobody gets between me and the front row at a Danny Baker appreciation rally. Erudite, enthusiastic, witty, honest and fallible, he remains a career beacon for those of us who pass through the enemy in his wake. But while radio understands him and showers him with accolades, TV squanders him again and again. The latest case in point, BBC 4's Brushing Up On, whose first half-hour episode brushed up on... It is of course BBC 4 who allowed Danny to chew the fat about vinyl LPs with pals over 3 nights in February, a format that at least tilted towards how best his volcanic talent might be harnessed, but linking some old clips about tunnels.
The fact that all human beings are obsessed with tunnels is well documented, I assume. Indeed, if one is to give credence to some of history's greatest philosophers and virtually all of its deranged speculators, our lives begin and end with a journey through these miraculous tubes.
Hang on, what's going on here? Is he being ironic? Is he sending up the facile nature of the archive clips programme? Is the whole thing some kind of cosmic joke? Because the footage had genuine value.
This story is as interesting as it's boring. It's about tunnels. The tunnel that caused such a spate of plans and discussions and government committees, instead of the spades of workmen, has yet to be built.
But it spoke for itself. It didn't require art annotation to zhuzh it up. And you got the feeling that our man in the grandad shirt knew it.
Once every 15 minutes, the miners assemble a self-supporting ring of concrete behind the digger.
Yes, perhaps I should offer a note of explanation here to those viewers under 30.
No need. It's a great clip. What makes Danny Baker one of the finest radio broadcasters in the land is his natural, unforced eloquence. I could listen to him all day talking off the top of his head. But reading stuff out...
So the next time you speak to your team leader for Office social media fusion strategy going forward, you might want to remind them of that. Anyway.
Not all great writers can talk, and not all great talkers can write. Clive James is one who can do both, and Danny Baker is another, but he doesn't need to write before he talks. And Brushing Up On will be vastly improved if they just let Danny improvise a commentary over the BT.
I'm sorry to break in again so soon, but buttocks?
From one middle-aged man talking over old clips to another, but without the gags.
Though the myth lives on that the United States won World War II, serious historians agree that it was the Soviet Union and its entire society, including its brutal dictator, Joseph Stalin, who, through sheer desperation and incredibly stoic heroism, forged the great narrative of World War II.
Hang on, did an American just say on record that America didn't win World War II? What kind of pinko bedwetting communist propaganda is this? Broadcast on Showtime in the States and Sky Atlantic over here, this self-narrated 10-part epic from filmmaker Oliver Stone is history as a kind of revisionist western. Pitched somewhere between Jeremy Isaacs and Adam Curtis, I think it may have been made specifically for me.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
This terrifying weapon would launch the United States on a journey, turning the refuge of the Founding Fathers into a militarized state.
It was originally titled The Secret History of America, which it never was. In actual fact, it's a re-editing, but from the left, which is a unique sales position in itself. Unlike The World at War, or its even more pertinent follow-up, Cold War, Stone's series calls no witnesses and has no interest in testimony. Not a single participant is interviewed. It's just newsreel, some cool animated maps, and a quick glimpse of the author at the beginning with his pitch.
There have been some profound mistakes, but we still have a chance, I strongly believe, to correct them.
Who does he remind you of? I'm not saying Stone is a communist, but this bold, personal, provoking remix of events must surely have nudged him up the CIA's hit list. You have to love him though, if only for his idiosyncratic intonation when reading sentences out loud.
By 1939, Roosevelt told his cabinet that his policies in Spain had been a grave mistake and warned that they all soon would pay the price.
And warned that they all soon would pay the price. Is he leaving gaps when he turns the page?
Leon Trotsky, whom Stalin had assassinated the year before in his exile in Mexico City.
The year before in his exile in Mexico City. None of which subtracts from the bracing impact of his told history of the United States. Be careful out there, Mr. Stone. And you, Mr. Sweeney.
Journalists are all but banned from North Korea, so I'm going in undercover, part of a tour group.
John Sweeney, intrepid investigative journalist and shouter at Scientologists, who gave us an untold history of North Korea in one of these editions of Panorama whose ratings are sent through the roof by a preceding news story, built up by a BBC-hating media and a self-hating BBC. The fact that Sweeney had posed as an academic from the London School of Economics in order to sneak into North Korea with a party of its students during Kim Jong-un's proposed last week on the planet was never supposed to be the story, but it almost overshadowed the real headlines.
At the moment, the situation is very tense, as you know. Nobody knows when the war will provoke, but anyhow, we'll be safe in our country. You know, our boss has the mark, the Korean International Travel Company, so the Americans won't strike our boss.
So that's what nervous laughter really sounds like. Journalistic methodology apart, this was a gripping half hour of factual television, a unique glimpse behind the iron curtain of rhetoric and Freudian insecurity that separates Pyongyang from, well, everywhere else. Some of the secret film's most chilling insights were its most mundane.
They're building a bank, night and day. Day and night.
It's now 4 in the morning. They never stop.
Sweeney refrained from shouting, but his softly delivered questions, officially rebutted with increasing flimsiness, spoke volumes.
At the moment this is a war of words, but will there be a shooting war?
Now that really is scary. I can't wait for Oliver Stone to get to the first Korean War. Another ailing regime, the writers of 30 Rock, lightened the geopolitical mood in the season 6 finale shown last week on Comedy Central, where NBC's very own John Sweeney, Elizabeth Banks' Avery Jessup, has recently been released from North Korea after being kidnapped.
Scott and I saw each other every day at work, but we're forbidden from speaking. I was living in an exact replica of Cinderella's castle that Kim Jong-un had built for his shoe collection.
And I was kept in a pit where they made me beat my best friend to death. Awkward.
Lowest ever rating episode of 30 Rock in America ever, apparently.
Oh my God, are you?
No, I'm nobody. Kim Jong-il is dead. I'm only waiter. I'm greatest waiter of all time.
Margaret Cho there. Move over 30 Rock. Game of Thrones has all the jokes now. No spoilers, but someone has died at River Run, and Edmure Tully, younger brother of Catelyn Stark, is tasked with lighting the flame of the ship's burial. Awkward. Honestly, it's like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Not going to ruin it for you. And finally, another new drama from ITV. When will they stop spoiling us? Adapted from the best-selling novel by Richard and Judy boosted Dorothy Coonson, The Ice Cream Girls is darker than its own chick-lit packaging would suggest. It's set some way up the coast from Broadchurch, in Brighton, but filmed, naturally, in County Wicklow. This is Lorraine Burrows, refreshingly a lead actor on ITV who wasn't in the last thing we saw, as one of 2 seaside teens who's been away for 17 years and has come back to get all wistful about her past.
This is good. Really good. Perform like this in the exam next month. I promise you'll have your maths GCSE.
Yeah, a year later than everyone else. I'm so thick at it.
Don't do yourself down, Serena. You're bright.
The excellent Martin Compston there as the teacher in the girl's past who looks a bit extracurricular. God, only seems like yesterday when he was playing a 16-year-old for Ken Loach. Last year he was a detective sergeant in Line of Duty. You know you're getting older when the actors playing the policeman start looking younger. This is Poppy, played by Jodie May, who again is a bit more interesting than the usual first thought casting in mainstream drama. She's been in prison, so she's clearing out the old beach hut in search of her own Proustian rush. I won't ruin it for you in case you've taped it. Not sure how writer Kate Brooke will spin this one out over 3 parts, as the opener placed a lot of cards on the table, but I'll see it through, as she wrote most of Mr. Selfridge. I've read lukewarm reviews which seemed a bit harsh. Maybe they just didn't love the 90s.
What now?
Look, she's got a copy of The Big Chill on VHS. If this was Mad Men, that would be existential. Let's end with the genius coda from last week's Modern Family on Sky One, if you're a Godfather fan.
Don't ever ask me about my business, Claire.
What are you talking about?
Don't ask me about my business.
I wasn't.
Good.